Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Is this mic working? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Is the mic on? I'll be right back. Thank you for your help. Appreciate you. Greetings, Seisu. Hey, can you do me a favor and go to Steam on our events and see if you can see the stream live right now? I see it, but it may just be me seeing it, my own stream feed. So, so weird. I do see it right now. Store page has it? Okay, that's all I need. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Okay. I was just thinking to myself, why can't I hear any music? I don't have my headphones on. Makes it really hard to hear music. They were just sitting here to this side. Kind of got in a zone and I forgot. Welcome, one and all, to the weekly edition of Mapmaker Monday. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Mapmaker Monday is a stream we host here across our various platforms every Monday where I build a map live. You're encouraged to watch and follow along to learn from my map making process. Other people share tips, tricks, and contribute to the build process with suggestions and feedback. Currently, I'm making a wizard's tower with an attached sewer that is an escape route. We are in the process of building the tower, which I wanted to flesh out the design for the floors before I moved up to, moved down, I should say, to the sewer. So for those of you that are just tuning in, we're going to be doing a multi-level build, and I'm doing this by hand, which is totally possible in Dungeon Alchemist. Now, if you want the AI to do this, not possible yet. And it will be a few updates before it can do that. But if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and kind of follow a few of these steps, you can definitely build multi-level buildings by hand. And as you can see here, we actually have 2 floors already. Right there. So I have a second floor and a bottom floor. I was mostly just kind of framing out the flooring before we decided to move on to a new, to start filling them out and, decorating it and whatnot. Anyway, welcome to the stream. If you have any questions related to Dungeon Alchemist or the build, maybe you're struggling with your map, or you're having problems exporting something, or you're new to our community, or you're just checking Dungeon Alchemist out and you have questions, feel free to let us know in chat, and I will do my best to address your concerns. And we should be live for about the next 2 hours. So it's 9 a.m. Pacific right now till about 11 a.m.-ish Pacific. We'll be live. Seisu, so I had a dream last night, and I was like chatting with the stream about, and I was saying damn fam, and you said how much you hated it, and then a couple other people were like, yeah, we need a new name. And then I was like, okay, how about damnation? And I just thought it was so funny in my dream because damnation actually is a pretty fitting kind of thing. And it's, because it's like a normal word, damnation, a single word. And then damnation, i.e. a community of map makers that make damn files, which is our proprietary map format, DAM, Dungeon Alchemist Maps. You can kind of see the cursor up here. Boop, 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 boop. Anyway. So Damnation also leans into Hendrik being kind of like a little devil or an imp, you know. Damnation is better than Damn Fam. How about Damned Nation? No, Damnation. Well, good to know how you feel. Ricarth, thank you for the follow, and Bryn Stull, thank you for the like over there on Facebook. Much appreciated. Bargrim the Barbarian, Damnation. So, I don't know. We'll probably have to put up a poll across our various social platforms. Honestly, Damn Fam was more just a fun thing to say on the stream. But I do like the idea of evolving this a little bit more. So, how was everyone's weekend? Did you do anything interesting? Did you get a chance to play your favorite tabletop game? Or did you maybe do some session prep? Maybe spent some time with family or friends? Maybe you worked all weekend. Either way, no matter what you did, let's hear about it. Let's chat about it. Let's talk about your weekend while we start staging this map. So, Canned Man, any type of localization and things like that, i.e. translation and whatnot, will be happening after we leave early access. Dungeon Alchemist is a very constant, fluid state where a lot of changes are happening almost monthly. So basically, the devs have opted to wait until the product is much closer to final to do any translation or anything like that. So probably multi-language keyboard support, translation, localization will happen, after we leave early access. That means after we've delivered on the final 6 stretch goals. The next one being magic. So after that, it'll be 5 stretch goals. Okay, so we had a game last night set in the fantasy version of Crater Lake. Oh, awesome. Crater Lake is so intriguing to me. I love the idea of this lake, but it also is terrifying. Crater Lake is the deepest lake in America, in the US, if I'm not mistaken. And it was formed after a massive volcano erupted, and then that was just the crater. Basically, it's inside of a long dormant volcano, and it goes so deep, it's like hundreds of feet deep. What's awesome about this lake, besides that, which is really cool, not only is it very cool of its creation, but it's kind of remote, and it's pristine, beautiful water that's like really crisp and clear. There is an island in the middle of the lake, which is also cool. And there's kind of a tourist attraction on the lake that many people aren't aware of, called the Old Man of the Lake. And it's been there pretty much as long as Crater Lake has been documented. So the edges of Crater Lake on occasion will kind of collapse in like a landslide, and they have very tall trees on them growing. And once in a blue moon, when a tree collapses like that and falls into the water, it will stay floating in a vertical kind of way. Most of the time they go like this, and then, they sink, eventually will get waterlogged and sink or get dredged out, pulled out. Honestly, Canned Man, I mean, if you're asking for more character support, The limitation, I don't know if that's just us or if it's Steam, for instance. Um, so you mean the labels like these ones here? Like this, right? So you want this to show different languages. The Old Man of the Lake is hard to find. He floats around randomly, but it's so big. Look for videos of it and stuff, pictures of it. You can stand on it and like it'll stay floating vertically. But it's been there so long that when the like original person who discovered or like went out and like investigated the area for the US government took notes on it, he mentioned in his journal the Old Man of the Lake, and it's been there all that time. I see what you're saying now. Honestly, I do feel like that still will probably fall under localization, if I'm being honest. Because that's when more language supports for keyboards and stuff, like different, you know. That's where I feel like it'll fall under, if anything. But I'll bring this to the attention of Wim and just ask him. Just one moment. I'm DMing Wim right now. But yeah, I have a screenshot as well. Let's see here. Okay. I just messaged Wim. We'll see if he answers back right now. I don't know if he will or not. But, you know, we could get an answer. Okay, peeking back over at Steam, just making sure no one's over there saying something. By the way, any Steam watchers, if you have any questions, concerns, etc., please let me know and I will do my best to address them. I'm watching your chat on the side. It won't feed into the stream chat feed for some reason. I can't get it to work, so I just gotta watch y'all and keep an eye on it. So who do we have here from YouTube at the moment? Was it Brandon? I could have sworn I saw your message up there just a moment ago. Brandon Bremer got to play for player for once. Blade singing wizard. How was your blade singing? Blade singing is an interesting class. We had a game last night set in a fantasy version. So tell me more about this Crater Lake setting for the game. Honestly, I bet it hasn't even popped up before. The label system and like the overlay system, there are aspects of it that definitely can use improvements. And I like to think of Dungeon Alchemist as in a constant state of flux. Like it's always being fixed and updated and, you know, they'll lay down a foundational layer and then they fix things and upgrade things and make it more intricate. So I imagine with time the tracing will get, more upgrades and options, i.e. more labels, better, font support, more frames, more map elements. What I'd really like to see is options for the trace overlay to not universally scale, but to scale on each side independently if you want. Because a lot of people in our community don't want this universal scaling. They want to, pull one edge and it scale and then pull that one and scale it. Four hours in one room? Oh no. I bet you that was fun. Honestly, the Blade Singer is an interesting class for sure. I mean, it just makes you a really, really tanky wizard, which I really like. It's one of my more favorite classes just to look at and interesting. I don't know if y'all have heard of Elderbrain Company, but I'm remaking all the maps from the Crown of Oathbreaker book, 916-page book, 120 maps for a campaign I'm running. That's insane, Brandon. That's a lot of work. That's dedicated. Impressive. How's it coming along? So let's get this third floor started. I'm going to frame that out, which to get started, I'm just going to copy this piece. Oh, we got it. Boop. That is glitchy. Yep. I mean, the thing about a big campaign book or a big campaign like TOA or the one you're talking about, Brandon, I'm not familiar with that book, but it sounds cool. Crown of the Oathbreaker sounds really detailed. Prepping all the maps in advance, you're going to do all this work and your players may or may not ever get to them. So TOA has hundreds of maps and environments to it. And you could spend time making them all, and you're for instance, there's a viewer in our community, a mapmaker in our community, Sack. He's in a TOA campaign. They said they were in Nyanzaru for a year or 6 months or something before they left it. Dyson, honestly, after the update, making Nyanzaru and Tomb of Annihilation maps is going to be a lot easier to approach. I have a strong feeling that, after this update, it will be much better. Also, there may not be a character for that particular umlaut, whatever it is over an A. I don't know what the exact word for it is, but there may not be a character in that font because it's like a font that may not have every single character, which means we may have to make them from scratch. Hey Bane, how you doing, buddy? Okay. So I I totally understand that frustration, can man, because you're like have loot left out and it may be ready to go in some specific spot if they investigate it or do some kind of check. Um, Part of the reason I don't like leaving specific loot unless it's meant for a specific party member is that reason, because a lot of times it gets missed and I get frustrated. So what I started doing is random loot rolls in certain areas, like off of loot tables, just almost every time. Hey, Paladin Lord, how you doing, buddy? Welcome, welcome. So, man, I do know that that particular font is the font we use in almost everything. It's called Alamendra. It's used in our branding and our, like, we use it in a lot of the stuff. Like, right now, that's the font at the bottom of the screen with the damn challenge stuff. So, it's very possible that font may not have full character support, but it may just need to be activated in Unity. I don't know, like, to me, like, when I used to spend a lot of time carefully picking out loot for players that, like, worked specifically for them, and then I got frustrated with it after a while because they would, like, miss it, and then I was like, you guys, I'm setting this up just for you, and you don't care. But, yeah, it is what it is, you know? So we got a third floor kind of staged, but I need a staircase. So if you want to look at this, this is essentially how it is. It's kind of like a pull apart at the moment. We've got a roof over here, ready to go. We got floor 2, floor 3, floor 1 at the bottom with a doorway. I don't know what happened to the arch there. I might have accidentally deleted it. We look for. Oh, gate. That's what it was. Hey, see you later, Paladin Lord. Thank you for being here, buddy. Okay, well, I'll talk to Wim about it. It might not be activated in Unity. And also, remember, our updating of Unity 2 might include, like, a lot more support for things. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have been playing with, Uh-oh, Brandon. Let me see. I do see one right now. Let me pull up the stream and YouTube and just look, okay, my friend? I apologize. Playing as a wizard. What did you say after playing as a wizard? Got to teach a newbie DM stuff and got to enjoy being a player, so win-win. Yeah, that is weird. Your last 2 messages didn't come through. It might have been YouTube grabbing them for some reason. Or having issues. Well, I brought it up with Wim. We'll see what happens, okay? Hey, Armando Rodriguez Correa, thank you so much for the like. Much appreciated. By the way, I just want to say welcome to our viewers across our various platforms. We've got people watching right now on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Trovo, Kick, Steam. It is crazy to be able to stream to all these platforms. What I was getting at a moment ago, though, what I was going to tell you about the new update. I just got an update to my build this last week. My build has been super scuffed and broken up to this point. And oh my gosh, this build is good. I just have to say, you know, if you dropped a link, it might have auto-caught it and gotten rid of it. That's just YouTube stuff, not me. So, that could be the possibility. Hey, Swedish Cook, how you doing? So, what I was going to tell you is I have tested it to an extent that is somewhat ridiculous. I downloaded over 1,200 assets from the workshop. I subbed to just asset after asset after asset, went through and subbed to a ton of collections. And what I was doing was stress testing how long it took to load DA with that many assets. And essentially, it would take less than a minute from a shortcut icon on the desktop to load DA with 1,200 subscribed assets, which is insane, because typically you get like 100 and your load times start crawling. You know, a couple hundred, oh, you're noticing it for sure. So hopefully this fix is a good long-term solution. What we're making right now is a wizard tower. It seems like it, Remy. That and Carl has been working on fixes for Steam Workshop in the background, because we're noticing kind of a small amount of reports coming out from essentially the creators who are submitting the most assets, or the people who are downloading the most assets. So basically, if you are uploading tons of assets, i.e. Asmodeus or Centimar or Sack, Norman Die, these people are running into an issue where their DA is super slow loading, super slow uploading assets. It takes like 20 minutes to upload a 5 megabyte asset now for some reason. And it really slows things down when you have a dozen you want to upload that day, right? So that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is people are subbing to every asset under the sun because they're like, hey, this is great. And I totally get that. It's cool to expand your collection, have all these objects. And the thing is they're free, so people are like, why not? And when you do that, all of those objects load into the RAM, and then they need to load with Steam every time you load DA. They need to be verified. So I think Carl came up with a novel solution for that, and it fixed a lot of stuff. I'm not 100% on what the solution was, but he was working with Asmodeus and Sack and Centimar in the background for testing, to just verify the issues they were having. And then we were pairing that with, what I was testing. But like 1,200 assets is pretty crazy to be subbed to. That's 1/3 of the assets on the workshop. And it was like not really affecting me at all. Exactly, Can Man. That is exactly what it does. Okay, kind of back to the build. So we now have 2 floors, right? 3 floors. What I need on this floor, though, is I need to... Oops. Okay. What I need to do is bring these over here and line them up, and then put another staircase on the top floor. So essentially, I'm going to stage these so I can pull them apart and decorate them. Once you've got the bones, the foundation, it makes it really easy to work with. So let's go to stairs up. I think I'm going to use this one here for this next floor. Good height. And the other thing that's cool about this is it's on that floor, so it'll move as one piece. Remember, if you have everything on top of like a rug or one singular object, then they can move together, i.e. a table or whatever. So Fargrim, you said you're splitting your campaign 8 players into playing sessions, one Wednesday and one Saturdays. That's crazy. Is there any overlap between them? Like sometimes players from session A will be in session B and vice versa? Or is it always just the one? Depends on the abstract. Some abstracts have dimensions to them and some are flat. Like this disc one that I'm using for the floor is just flat. So it's like wafer thin. Hey Kraken, welcome back. Any updates on the next release with round rooms and rotating buildings? As of right now, there's no ETA. They're still migrating from an older build of Unity to a newer build, which is the main reason for the delay right now. That being said, they are talking about significant progress being made. Things are going smoothly for the most part. But there is a lot of work to be done. By the way, Canman, each of these abstracts, when you click on them, when you place them, it shows the UI, and there's a texture template icon. So you can go to our website and download the template for each one, or the one you're working with. Each of these templates are 1024 pixels by 1024 pixels. And then within them, some of them have very limited safe space that's marked by the green. Think of that like a stencil where paint links, will go through, and that's where you want it to show. On the right side, this is not safe space. It's blank. You want to leave that as blank PNG. Just empty. Transparent. So this here, for instance, a cube. Yeah, no worries, Kraken. I wish I had more information. But I will say that soon you'll be seeing a lot of teaser content and whatnot across our various social platforms. So just stay tuned, okay? I need to move that back just a little bit more. Right there. Eric, how you doing, brother? That looks pretty good. I want to move it just like a sliver back. Yes! Yes! That looks so good! This is actually just a custom build I'm making for Mapmaker Monday using all the tools available in DA. This is nothing new, or this is nothing from our next update. This is strictly stock, what you have access to right now. If I'm doing a stream that showcases like teaser content that is a reveal with the new update, I will definitely showcase it as such and label it as such. And during these streams, we're bound to show like teaser video and stuff of the updates. But this here is definitely just all stock. I appreciate that, Canman. Honestly, as the delays were mounting and we were getting closer to launch, and then we found this bug, the devs were just not sure of how long it would take to fix. And I just said, you know what? I think we need to be transparent and tell our community that what's going on. And I do think that transparency is very important this day and age with development. And there's a lot of companies that, kind of skirt the truth with development nowadays. And I do think it's important to not only keep you informed as a community as to what's going on with our development, especially if there's a major delay like this that's brewing. And also, I think it's important to essentially be as truthful as possible and under promise, over deliver. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of hype up shareholder trying to make things look more awesome on paper and in video and stuff when the end product isn't always as good. And our devs are the opposite of that. They really care about Dungeon Alchemist so much, and they're a bit of perfectionists about it, to be honest, and they really don't want to release a product that is shoddy or has problems. Yes, that's exactly what it is, Eric. In fact, it's one of these customizable discs like that, right? And then I have inserted an image. The mouse is acting funky. There's a little bit of hair over the laser there. And I have an abstract that I made at a point in the past. That right there. That is essentially a picture of this. Okay, let me walk y'all through this process. This is kind of tricky, but cool. So we have some round objects, these platforms here. That's what the floor is on the bottom floor of this building, okay? So if I pull out floor... Okay, let's get rid of that one. Floor 3, floor 2. That's this right here. That is just a round piece of whatever. We're going to fix that stair in a minute. Okay, anyway. So what I did is I took this floor, right? And I placed it. I had kind of a big, clean, open map to do this. So kind of imagine this map is, just free, empty space, right? I'm going to just raise this above the cover there. And I took this floor piece and I put it on top of the green, right? Just like that. I then zoomed in and I took a picture of it. And I put that in Photoshop. You could do the same with any photo editing program. So take a screenshot. You can even really get intense if you want to hide the UI. So you could take a screenshot without anything, which makes it really easy. And essentially, I got rid of all this green around it by doing a color selection. And then I did a lasso to make sure I got all the shading and everything because it has a little bit of shadow, right? So once that was done, I now have this floor piece, which I then put into a 1024 by 1024 template of the abstract. Made sure it was overlaying the circle of that abstract, which, let's click this here. We'll go to this here. That would be this template right here, this bad boy. So I had this template in Photoshop, and then I overlaid the floor on top of this, right? Once it was on top of it and fit really good to it, I then, just cropped it to 1024 by 1024 all around it. And then I made sure the exterior edges were blank around here, right? And like transparent PNG. And then I use the eraser to erase out a section for the floor, like you see right here. So that's all it is. It's an image of this. That's why it looks like a little bit different color, and it's shiny at certain angles. By the way, that shine should be gone in our next update. So. Sorry, what, Ermel? Right? There's no hair in here. No, it's from my cat. Despite how bald I am, there is still hair in this house. My cat likes to get up on the desk and make my life miserable. Okay, so this staircase here, I want it on top of that, not sunk into it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold control and I'm going to try and match it to the other one, and then I'm going to shrink it while it's on top. Should do it. I noticed the reason I did this is because I noticed that the staircase wasn't attached when I lifted the building, and I didn't want that to be. So watch, when I move this now, it's all one piece. What just happened? No! Okay. Hey, Questmark, how you doing? Yeah, so the alpha channel stuff is going to be less vibrant in the next update with abstracts. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So what you're asking for, Canned Man, is called variant creation. What we call, at least internally, is variant creation. And in a future update, we plan to give you the ability to do that. It would be most likely the Fun with Objects update, which there are rumors that that may be the update after Magic. So essentially, the plan would be to give you the ability to here, one second. Let me save this before I forget. You can... Have you played with the asset importer at all? Handman, this space? So imagine, if you will, that this space would allow you to take any object in DA, put them together on this pad, and then merge them together, kind of arrange them, resize them, and then save them as a grouping or a variant. The thing with that is, essentially, we hope to allow you to group objects together, save them, maybe even share those groupings of objects on the workshop. And that would allow you to quickly copy groupings of objects from one part of the map to the other, or to maybe build a ship and save it, stuff like that. So, well, that's not a thing you can do yet. We're hoping to give that option at some point. Now, we do have what's called kind of a testing phase for that right now. I worked with one of our developers to come up with a kind of a community event, an ongoing event that we call the Damn Variant Decorathon. For members of our Discord, you may be familiar with this channel, but for those that aren't, let me see if I can get a link for it really quick. Let me see here. For anyone interested, I'm gonna just drop that. But basically, that link goes to a channel in our Discord where we're currently actively testing variant creation. I have worked with the creator of Dungeon Alchemist, Wim Deher, to essentially put this event together where we pick an object and you are kind of given a strict set of rules to decorate the object. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of objects in DA come pre-decorated, especially like furniture, like tables or desks. Like this table here, it's pre-decorated. And you may not know this, if you press Tab before you place the object, it'll shift between all the pre-decorated variants. So if you're looking for a specific variation of a table that's pre-decorated like this, if you just hit Tab over and over again, it'll shift until it gets to it. So as a community, we've been actually given an opportunity to create variants and get them inserted into Dungeon Alchemist in future updates. So the damn variant Decorathon was essentially that testing avenue. Right now, we have a cool stone altar that's available for editing, and if you essentially follow the rules, you can decorate it and submit that map. And if those decorations on the altar are cool, if the devs like it and it works within the rule set, they may add it as a variant into our next update. So your decoration could be included. But all of this decoration also helps us test the limitations of variant creation, like what can work, what can't work, and how we can expand upon it. So that will be kind of something that you will see in the future, most likely with Fun with Objects. Okay, we have 3 floors now. We've got the stairs going up to each floor. They match really well. This is what we're going to do. We're going to now decorate the floors. So, Wizard's floor, number 1, he's got a little toilet right there. That's the entryway, which I'm just noticing is kind of a little off. Earn it. I'm going to put a new one of those. I want to do a gate. That'd be pretty cool. Neat. Okay, so now that all moves as one solid piece, which is great. Okay. So, Canned Man, if you're interested in, like, the groupings of objects and, you know, what might happen with that in the future, I would definitely pay attention to that channel in our Discord. You know, join in the testing, select the latest event, which is the stone altar. You can pick one of the maps. There's one with 2 altars on it, one with 4, one with 8, and one with 16. You download the damn file with the amount of altars you want to decorate. Maybe you only want to decorate 2. So you decorate those 2, submit the damn file back in that channel, and then I share it with the devs. And if it works within the rule set and they like the variation, they'll add it to the next update. Pretty cool. Anyway, all of that is essentially testing that helps us fine-tune variant creation on the back end. Dragor2, thank you for that follow. Much appreciated. And Enrique, a Palafox, thank you for the like. Much appreciated. Okay, so I'm thinking books. I'm thinking a desk, like kind of right here. Would the bottom floor have his bed, or would his bed be up above, maybe on a different floor? I only put the loo on the bottom floor because it seems like the plumbing would be down below, like the hole, you know? So I need suggestions, ideas. What kind of things would be on a wizard's tower's first floor? You know, we were just looking at those tables and stuff under furniture. Kitchen? Okay. Could be a kitchen. You know what? I appreciate that insight because I wasn't even thinking of it. I kind of like the idea of clothes and shoes being near his bed. So, let's look at... No, I don't want butcher's tools. Just some regular old cooking equipment. Okay, so I'm thinking just an old potbelly stove, right? Something like that. And I can get a little intricate and pipe it out if I want to. Wants to jump because of the snapping, so. I know we have a couple of stoves that like have that top. I kind of like this one better though, because it like has an actual thing, and then it has an opening. You can open the stove, so I could put like a little pot or something on that, and it'll look a little bit cleaner, like a pan or something. The other one can do it too, but it just doesn't fit as well. Was that like a holdover effect from the last one? Am I crazy? Like, what is that? Anyway. Okay, let's do, I'm thinking like a table to one, like a little table to the side that's like a prep space. So we can do, doesn't need to be fancy either. I don't want it to be like a small one. This looks neat. That look okay? It's a magical toilet, okay? Yeah, I can move it. Let's see here. But yeah, ultimately, we can figure out what to do there with the bathroom in a bit. That doesn't have to be by the kitchen. So, if that bothers people too much. I really wanted this butcher block, but these look really nice. I like the wood color. Yo, Orange Space Monkey, how you doing, buddy? I'm considering rebranding the Damn Fam to the Damn Nation. What are y'all thoughts on that? I had a dream last night that I was saying Damn Fam on stream, and Seisu was disgusted with it. And then I was like, fine, we'll call it the Damn Nation. And I just thought that has so many levels of, like, working. Because damnation, a single word, right? Damnation, 2 words, a grouping of people. And then following that thread is our imp, like, mascot, Hendrik of the Pits, is like a little demon devil type guy. So more. So I have constantly called us Damn Fam because I like how it, like, rolls off the tongue. You know what I mean? But I do like that idea too. Either one could work. So. Oh my gosh, I was looking through objects that are in our next update, just kind of seeing what's there. And oh, there is these bags of teeth. Just like a bag full of teeth. I don't understand why, but okay. Oh, it will be so much easier. I'm doing it the hard way, for sure. Well, at least the bottom floor would be easier, right, Remy? Okay, raise of hands. Who wants to see some stuff from the next update really quick? Take a break on some creation really quick. Some of you may have seen these teasers, some of you may not. Okay, Swedish Cook said no. Okay, no teasers then. We're good. I'm just kind of going through this, and as I see objects I like for the build, I'm like, yes, I'm going to add that for sure. Yes! Thinking we need a spoon right there on the stove. I'll talk to the devs about it and see what they think, because ultimately they have always loved leaning into Damn quite a bit, so we'll see. All right. Let's see here. I do kind of like the idea of leaning into it, but also we want to be like an accepting group that's like open to all people's cultures and, you know, ideas. And so damnation, some people might take an affront to that. I could understand it. Put some meat up on the wall. It's got a big old... Okay, I'm not gonna say it. Trying to decide maybe a steak here. It kind of looks good. Getting ready to get all seasoned and cut up. Or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna save, and then we're gonna look at a teaser really quick. To be honest with you, I like don't want to tempt fate with stuff like that, because I have had an unreasonable amount of like my enjoyment and time with like games like D&D, because my parents were overly protective and like bought into satanic panic like really hard. So like I wasn't allowed to play D&D as a kid, and when I did, I'd have to sneak over, like play at my friend's house and beg them not to say anything about it later, you know? So but yeah, like I kind of grew up in a very strict like religious household where essentially anything that was perceived as like devilry or witchcraft was like nope. Nope, nope, nope. Growing up, I was like not able to watch movies over PG. I wasn't able to watch shows like Simpsons or Futurama. Like all of the content we watched in our house was heavily like moderated. So in our next update, the ability to raise structures up and down will be present. Meaning you'll be able to raise the building up before you generate it, which is very important. Excuse me. Especially when you take into account the next teaser I'm going to show you. So, and like, it's not to say I have a thing against religious people or anyone who is. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what I was not allowed to do in my home. You know, I do think there's a little bit more sense nowadays when it comes to things like D&D. People realize it's a game, it's math, it's imagination. However, some people don't necessarily agree with that. So, but I mean, in the 90s, what we're talking about is there was a lot of like news and sensationalism around people thinking Dungeons and Dragons was a satanic cult, essentially. And you see some of this in like media. If you've watched like Stranger Things, like the latest season, they kind of show that essentially what players of D&D might have dealt with in that era. These are teasers, Can Man. So yeah, but anyway, I do like to think that overall D&D has grown as a community. You know, it's not just like a niche thing. There's a large a group of people that play tabletop games in general. Role-playing games. So it's a much more mainstream than it used to be. Hey, Uncle Trash Talk, how you doing, buddy? So, Canned Man, as you were asking, this is stuff that's going to be available in our next update. So you'll be able to shape the building however you want for the most part, as long as it follows a 1-1-2-2-3-3 ratio. Additionally, you'll be able to rotate the structure, move the structure, raise and lower the structure all before you generate it with AI. Yeah, I do mad respect for people who dealt with all that, you know, like the stigma around it, growing up playing it and probably being an outlier and kind of holding the line as as it became more mainstream. But look, man, we like have movies now about D&D and like cartoons and TV shows, major streams. It's definitely got a lot more positivity around it, for sure. For sure. And I'm happy for it. I honestly am so grateful to the fact that it is, like, much better. And it's funny, my mom, okay, you all need to hear this. So the parent I was telling you about that was really protective, didn't want me playing D&D. So, like, you know, when I got this job, I called her to tell her about it because I was really excited, and it's mainly because like I'd been looking for a good job for a while and I wasn't happy with the career path I was in. And when I got this job, I called her and said, "Hey, I got this job with this company. They're called Dungeon Alchemist." She's like, "Dungeon Alchemist? What do they do?" And I kind of carefully danced around it, you know. But I ended up just being straightforward to the degree of saying, you know, it's a company that they have a program that is a map making tool for tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons. And she goes, "Oh, cool, that's neat." And I just was shocked because when I was growing up in that home, it was like, no! Ah! She's probably cooled out over the years, but like, it's funny to me because she called me like 4 months ago, asking about Dungeon Alchemist because she goes, "You work for Dungeons and Dragons, right?" And I go, "No, Mom, I don't work for Dungeons and Dragons. The program, the company I work for makes a program that works with Dungeons and Dragons." And I explained it to her and she's like, "Oh, at my job, I was telling all the young kids that I work with, they were talking about Dungeons and Dragons in the break room and I told them you work for them and they were like, 'No way!'" And it just made me laugh so hard. But my mom is like, she's like almost 60 now or something like that. I don't even know her exact age. She's got to be close to 60 now. So it's just kind of one of those things that, like, it's funny because I've watched her go from this incredibly, like, protective helicopter parent that didn't like D&D at all. Sabrina the Teenage Witch was satanic, you know, and now it's like, oh, that's so cool. Makes me laugh. Okay. So what you kind of can see here that's really neat, obviously shaping the room, mixing and matching straight and round, rotating the room, moving the room, all of this will be available in the next update. So very big deal. Round rooms will be so much easier to generate in the next update. You'll essentially be able to shape the room into a round shape, generate it with floor, objects filling it, walls. The doors will match, the walls will round out, the windows will round out. It's dynamically bended and fit to the room. Isn't that kind of cool? So round rooms is kind of the big quality of life improvement in the next update. That mixed with the ability to put rooms at any height is going to be a big deal. Honestly, too, man, one way to, like, if a parent is concerned about their child playing a game like D&D, they're worried about the aspect of, like, make-believe or whatever, or is it, you know, satanic? I mean, ultimately, it's math. At the end of the day, it's a lot of math. And if you pitch it as, like, a learning experience to, A, teach your kids how to quickly do math on the fly with lots of different cool problems, right? And, additionally, they get to kind of break out of their shell and do things like role play to help them communicate, help them imagine, and, you know, kind of like get their brain kicking and coming up with new and unique ideas and problem solving. Man, I don't have an answer to that, unfortunately. If there is anything like that, it would likely be in our Fun with Objects update, but I highly doubt the devs will give you that much ability to warp objects, mainly because they like the style and the quality. They're very adamant about a certain level of quality, and so that's why they don't allow those types of things. You know, i.e., extending, like, you know how you can scale an object? They don't allow you to scale an object on one side because they don't want the object to look wonky. They want it to always look a certain way. So, and that's an artistic choice of theirs, which we have to respect. You know what I mean? Soul Cleanse. I'm new to Dungeon Alchemist, and these features are very exciting. Well, first off, welcome to the community. And if you have any questions about Dungeon Alchemist, feel free to ask. These streams are AMA format. So any of the streams you catch us on, you can pop in and ask questions relative to Dungeon Alchemist, or, you know, your build, how to export, or how to accomplish a certain thing, or maybe you're struggling with trying to get something to work, or it's not working the way you want. Come in and ask questions. You can also drop in our Discord anytime and ask questions there. We have a support forum and a question forum. Great place to get ongoing support when the streams are not live. Hey, Man, again, hey, thank you for the follow 24 minutes ago. I did not see that. I apologize. I'd missed the notification for that. Okay, so this room here is like a pocket dimension, an extra dimensional room or space. So this could be like, you know, you could use this to be like a bottled respite for like a warlock, or it could be a pocket dimension for, you know, a wizard, a magnificent mansion frame. It's also been suggested this looks a lot like a blueprint from top down, so you could potentially have a map and then just switch it to this and then have a blueprint mode for it, and like a top down, maybe if you're planning a heist, or your players are planning a heist and they maybe, you know, paid someone to give them a blueprint, or they scouted it out. Additionally, I've been told, and this is a fun outlier use case, but I've been told it looks like the detective vision from Arkham, the Arkham series games. So basically you can take and do that whatever you will. But it's a neat little immersion piece, and I think this will be a fun little setup for kind of magical spaces. Both the film and Baldur's Gate did generally better than Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast assumed would happen. The rumor mill is that that Larian didn't want to deal with all the new stipulations being put down by Wizards of the Coast, and just like, I'm out. See you later. Let's get back to building. I'm gonna reorganize this shelf a little bit the way I want it to be. Bread together. Get you down here. And then let's put some other stuff in here. What kind of things do I need? Need some wine, right? A wine rack on the top of the shelf there, or maybe to the side. Which one would be better? Like that? Then I could stack one just on top of that. Okay, so kitchen on this bottom floor is coming along really well. I want to kind of leave this space open around the stair, so I'm going to leave that kind of open. But over here, I need something behind the stair, maybe a little closet. Remy, I got to put one of your tea bags up here, up on the top shelf. I just think it's a cool item, so. Honestly, they're great. They're really cool. What kind of kettle would a wizard have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm leaning towards 4 or 2. Yeah, 4 looks pretty good. It looks like a good kettle. So are any of you like me and you just get lost in the details of your map and spend way too long making it? Hey, Sayron, how you doing? Swifty, you never DM'd me the other day. I was waiting to hear back from you so I could correlate the news when I got it. By the way, I still haven't heard back, so no news. We should put red on the outside of this cheese. So it's Baby Bell, right? Discord's probably best. You know the Baby Bell cheese? You can get it like the grocery store that's wrapped in the red wax and then you peel it off. Okay, I need a basket. I'm gonna put some eggs in it. I'm thinking like this basket right here is a good one for eggs. Oops. Oh, do you enjoy it? It's a pretty, honestly, like, I do feel like Amazon, like, it really kind of went with the community, like, I don't know. It was a community driven experience, basically, because it feels like the games, albeit it's not 100% canon, but it just is fun. It's an interesting show. Yeah, me either. I enjoyed it. Let's just say that. If you enjoy any of the Fallout lore or the games, I encourage you to get on Amazon Prime and check out the show. Just straight up content warning though, it is straight up gruesome. Um, yeah. Anyway, I have played like the older games. I played like the top down ones when I was younger, like 1 and 2, and then I also played 4 when it came out, and I played 76 for a little bit, and then I played Fallout Shelter. Like in my like when I'm like needing a mobile game to play, Fallout Shelter is usually the one I pick. So, anyway, that's kind of here nor there. Recently, Amazon gave them away on Prime. So like I've got all the old Fallouts, Fallout 1, 2, 3, like all for free. Fallout 76, Fallout 4. Okay, let's put some cutlery here. No, Ordo, I'm doing all this by hand. This here is all stuff that's available in stock DA right now. You could make a building like this. Right now, I'm actually making a multi-floor wizard tower using stock assets and abstracts. So if you go to objects and structural, we have for a long time now had many different rounded objects like these walls. Hey, see you later, Swifty. So that's what this is, these walls, and the floor is this. But, yeah, we're just kind of doing this by hand build to show it's possible now before the update comes out. When it becomes available, of course. Which, you know, I don't have an ETA on when that will be. But if it was out, it would be very publicly notated on all of our social platforms, our Steam, etc. So, definitely just stay tuned to that if you're interested and wondering when we might. Right, Hidden Boss? That's, yes. Someone said that to me last week, a close friend, and so that made me, like, raise an eyebrow because I assumed it was them for a moment. But yeah, soon TM. Unfortunately, we ran into a major bug that was a limitation in the build of Unity we were using. We were using a build from like 2019, and it is now just too dated to handle some of the stuff we're throwing at it, so we have to go through and migrate over to a new version, which is taking quite a bit of time, and that's why there is really no specific launch date as of yet. I might just put some brewery vats over here or something like that. Corner. Good little filler. And we can look at some brewing stuff here. It's like, I feel like he'd be making his own wizard brews, right? Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that. I don't do much on the development end, so I can't speak to that. I would assume that's probably the main reason. A pre-developed engine saves a lot of time and manpower, whereas one that's not and that's made from scratch would take significantly more time and money. Considering the scope and breadth of Dungeon Alchemist, and we're just a 10-man team, I think overall we're like on the right course. This is its kitchen, so this is beer brewing here. It wouldn't be potions on this floor. We can do potions and experimentations books like that on the second floor. I'm thinking the second floor will be where his, like, workshop is, right? His library, all of his, like, various alchemical devices and potion brewing. And then the third floor will be his bedroom. I mean, a lot of developers use mainstream engines still. Even AAA companies. Okay, we need a chair for this table. You ever want a chair to go under, but it won't? The camera angle is important. Make sure you're looking at the side you want it to go under. And once I got the chair the right size, I duplicated that, and I'm just going to make sure I keep using that chair, because it keeps duplicating it in that size. Yep, it can and can. I just think the angle of attack is very important. I love this. Oh no, a couple of the objects aren't attached. No, I messed it up. Okay, I'm gonna delete that. Delete that. Delete that. Gotta figure out a way to have it all attached still. It's in the woods. I'm kind of making it all like it's gonna feel kind of like a Merlin tower in the middle of the woods, like a little wizard's workshop where he can be a hermit and do his various, wizardly things. I mean, the specifics can be hammered out in each campaign. You know what I mean? That are like catered to their own needs. But for right now, I think it could be in the middle of a deep forest. Maybe only he knows the location. Somewhere like that. Notice there's not even a path to it. So I like to think that maybe he flew out here, teleported out here, and just built it in the middle of nowhere. And then he like maybe gates back here. So if you are worried about security, location could be part of it. There also could be like, traps and other things going on, but we haven't gotten to that detail yet. So I think we'll cross that bridge when we get there. This is very true. What was the question that I missed there? I want to make sure I didn't miss it. Okay. Dungeon Master Chef says, great show. Just purchased DIA yesterday, but my mouse broke session. Going to Descent of Avernus into a Chains of Asmodeus. I feel like this mapping software is going to help. Yeah, for sure. It will help. And we're here to guide you too if you have any questions. I don't know why, but his feed isn't showing up on my stream feed. I'm gonna refresh this. Refreshing chat. Hopefully that fixes it. Okay. What kind of things should we put on the table here? Hmm. Stuff on the outer walls. What do you mean, like stuff hanging outside of the home? So essentially, you mean like, oh dang, Avariel, I'm glad to hear it. That's awesome. 400 hours? That's impressive. Oh, 40 plus, right? Awesome. That's amazing. Hey, Geeking Out Gaming, welcome to the stream. If you have any questions, my name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. So feel free to ask anything related to the product, and I'll do my best to answer and address your concerns. And maybe we might make you a community member today. If it makes you feel any better, Avariel, I have like 2,000 hours. But of course, that's why they pay me the big bucks. You know what I mean? I don't really like this table being this direction. I might do it this way because then it'll flow with the room better. Because you can walk around it easier. But we host several streams a week. Couple a week are in our various stream platforms: Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Kick, Steam, etc. While we also host a stream once a week on our Discord called Office Hours, where you can pop in and get live support, get to know community members, ask questions, etc. Those are exclusive to our Discord, while the other streams are on every platform. You know, I haven't really decided yet on that. I'm more just kind of building, but, that could make a lot of difference in what's in here, huh? So, right now, I think he's a reclusive wizard who, my headcanon is he essentially built this, tower out in the middle of nowhere so he can live peacefully and experiment peacefully and kind of do what he needs to in private without, prying eyes, so to speak. I wouldn't say he's up to anything nefarious, but more like he's a recluse, How about you tell me, what do you all think? What kind of wizard do you all think would live here so far? Yeah, he might have guests. I think more peaceful. He may occasionally have, old compatriots over to visit, or another wizard, or, who knows? Familiar sit down to eat with him at dinner. I could just make it a small table. Could be his party members that come to visit on occasion. Gosh, like just the wrong angle. Just the wrong angle. A scryer could be interesting. So the first floor is coming along really well. I'm kind of thinking a rug in the center would really tie this together. Looking at the rugs here. Do we want one that's kind of dirty? Because this one here looks threadbare. What Asmodeus said there, Avariel, in the future we plan to address multi-level, which it's great now that Foundry has a stock option instead of it being like a built-in stock multi-level support instead of it being a module, which gives us all the much more, reason to invest into it, both time and, money and manpower. Because prior to that, there really wasn't a native solution for Foundry or any, for that matter. Right now, multi-level is possible, but it's by hand. You would not have any AI support for multi-level. So right now, as you can see, I'm actually building a multi-level building. So what I've done is I'm using a combination of stock assets and a tool called abstract assets, which is how I made these second floors with kind of like a hole in them. You could see the floor going up below, right? Which that looks pretty clean, I'm not gonna lie. And then you also have a third floor, which I have thought of. But this takes a lot of forethought in how you're going to design your building and lay it out, and you need to kind of prefabricate and make these walls out of structural objects and the floors out of structural objects. Check it out, Lazarus. I'm already 2 steps ahead of you, brother. But it's not every building would have this option by default. This build, I opted to put a roof on it. So I chose this neat little shingled spire to use. Yeah, Geeking Out Gaming, we offer stock exports for Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Unity, Roll20, Above VTT. We also offer UVTT exports, so Universal VTT exports. So that works with like Arkenforge, Encounter Plus, a bunch of others. I think Harpy just added UVTT support, so it should work with that. Additionally, you can export your maps for print, so you can print them locally on your own printer, or you can take them to a print shop and get them, big, huge maps printed. We also have a partnership with a company called Kraken Wargames, where you can order mats that are printed on neoprene and shipped directly to your door. Let me show you one of them. Oh, huge. Chair here. This here is a map made in Dungeon Alchemist and then was ordered and printed and shipped to me. This thing is as big as my table in my kitchen. I have one that's even twice as big as this. So you have lots of options for print and or digital export. You can export as a JPEG or a video file and put it on a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop. You can use a virtual tabletop, such as Foundry, like we discussed. Essentially, full options. What I recommend, though, depending on your map, so like print, when you open a map for print... Here, let me save this really quick. It's been a while since I've... Yeah, Lazarus, I mean, you could put a roof over any normal AI building if you want to. It just, you're going to have to do it by hand. There's no AI roofing solution right now. So if you insist on having roofs over your buildings for immersion reasons, then yes. However, I will tell you this. Let's say you're playing with like a virtual tabletop, like Foundry, for instance. Line of sight blocks the vision from seeing inside. So the second you put a roof atop of that, if there is a chance for a player to go inside that building, they won't be able to see that rooftop because it's blocked via line of sight. So essentially, you're going to have to create 2 layers for your maps if you want the roofs to work effectively in like a digital play format. It's kind of tricky. Averiel. Sorry, I said your name there wrong a couple times. So let me just show you really quickly how to... Here, I'm going to just make a little quick... we're going to do a little farmstead to the side and put a rooftop on it just to show you how it's possible. So I'm going to generate it with an AI. Whatever. I don't know why this is taking so long. Weird. Weird, to say the least. Well, hopefully it doesn't crash this map. Dang, we've got 16 people watching on YouTube. I'm very impressed. Yeah, we'll show first person in a minute. So I'm going to generate this, right? And then I'm going to go into our objects and just type roof. So we have 2 stock roof options for simple roofing. If you need a roof, you got the shingled spire and the shingled roof. May have to play with it a little bit to get it just right, but it is quite potentially possible depending on the shape of the building. You could even stack a couple roofs. So let's say you just do 2 small ones instead of 1 big one in this case. Like this. Something like that, right? But depending on the shape of the building, you may not have to do that. And in the future, we plan to have stock roofing options, but that's a ways away. You can also go on the workshop. I don't know if y'all have done this, and if you don't have Dungeon Alchemist, you probably don't know about this. We have built-in Steam workshop support where our community has shared over 8,500 maps and 3,500 assets, 3D models. So in there, you can search roof, and there is literally like 100+ options for roofing. So you could download one of these and use it as a roof, and it's a prefab shingled roofing. So you can mix and match. No, we don't offer tile exports for Foundry yet, so you're going to have to do a little bit of the footwork if you want roofing tiles. Like, essentially, let's say you wanted a foreground layer and a background layer for Foundry. We only support background layer exports. So you'd essentially have to make 2 versions of the map, where one is just a blank, like the roof one that you export and delete everything else around it. How I would probably approach that is drop like an abstract. You'd essentially do a save as map 1, save as map 2. And then 1 would be like the rooftop canopy and like tree cover and stuff like that past a certain point. You drag this like over the entire map, right? Get rid of this rock here. Essentially, you would export this and you would have to edit out all this green and make it transparent, even the shadows. And then what would happen is if your players walk under this canopy, you would set this as the foreground layer of the map. And when they walk under it, it would peel back and they would go into the building. But this isn't something stock supported by DA yet, so you're going to have to do the footwork yourself. It's not necessarily straightforward or simple, you know what I mean? You got to have some graphic editing skills. So if you exported this right now, let's say to Foundry, it would just be covered buildings, right? That's all you would have. That's all you would see. That your players would not be able to enter these. Essentially what you would want to do for this is have a scene that's in the inside of the building and a scene that's the exterior. Unless you did what I just said and separated the rooftop layer from the background layer. But essentially, depending on your skill set, this may be easy or hard. So you would export 1 without the roofing, right? And then 1 with the roofing. And in this case, where I have a multi-floor building, you would have to do multiple exports per level. So you would have floor 1, save as, floor 2, save as, floor 3, save as, and then export each of those as a separate layer, which isn't supported, I don't think, fully yet in many VTTs. But it is possible, by stock, to go through and kind of play with it by hand and come up with that solution, okay? Let's play around with the the first floor, finish it up a little bit. Yeah, by hand, definitely. Like, if you don't mind rolling up your sleeves a little bit, getting your hands dirty, you can definitely build multi-level by hand, either just by adjusting the terrain manually or stacking things, kind of like blocks or Lego. We offer image export and video export. So let's say you use Foundry, you said, geeking out, right? If I recall correctly. So if you use Foundry, Foundry has animated map support and still map support. So we offer exports for Foundry that support both of those options. So if you go into our export menu, it says Foundry. And then here we have images, standard JPEG, or you could do an MP4 if it's a smaller map with up to 2048 by 2048 resolution. You could go to video, low quality MP4, so it's a little bit smaller file. And then you have WebM options. That's anything over a certain size map. You would really want to use a WebM because it has essentially unlimited scaling for resolution. You can do all sorts of different size image and videos, whereas MP4 has standardization across certain sizes. Does that make sense? So WebM will accommodate to map sizes that are massive, say over 40 by 40 up to 100 plus by 100 plus. And when you export this, especially for VTTs, whether it's an image or a video, I highly recommend going 72 DPI. I know it says low quality. It shouldn't say that. It should say standard quality. Standard VTT, because that's exactly what Foundry recommends, is 72 DPI. That's what Fantasy Grounds recommends. Roll20 recommends 70 DPI. So the reason they recommend that is in online play, the higher the DPI, the bigger the file is exponentially. So this is 6 times smaller than this and much smaller than this. It gets much, much smaller, and that means your players can load it better. Let's say one of your players has a potato computer or bad internet, which likely is the case in almost every group. There's at least one. That person's experience is going to be very poor if you have a high quality DPI map that is 200, 300 megabytes to load a single scene. You want to keep it trim and finite for their quality as well, their gameplay experience. So, essentially, I recommend only using DPI, low quality DPI for like VTTs, and then use the higher quality ones for like localized play or prints. So like, let's say you're making a video to play on a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop in your home, definitely go the higher quality ones. The higher quality ones are great also if you want to get like a printout of a map. Perfect for that. Anyway, so you export here. You can export with the grid on or off, but if you're exporting for a virtual tabletop like Foundry, they have amazing grid support built into their tool. Do not export with the grid on in DA. It'll only cause problems when you're trying to match them up later. I only recommend exporting with a grid on if you plan to print or a TV tabletop, yet again. So you just have that built in. But if you're using a virtual tabletop in any fashion with your TV tabletop or a remote play online, export without a grid. Okay, so, I mean, you can definitely test and see what works good for your players, man. But, you know, more than likely, as the higher DPIs, you're bound to run into a ceiling at some point, both in either, like, your virtual tabletop of choice might have a file limit, a size limit, a limit of actual size of, like, resolution, too. So I know Foundry, Fantasy Grounds all have an upper limitation of that. Yep. I honestly have to educate our community on this at least once a week because so many people like want to do the higher quality ones, which I understand. You're looking at the export menu, it says low quality. You're like, I don't want low quality. Why would I even do that? I want high quality, very high quality. It's free. Why not? But the problem is that quality comes with a price on the back end. There's going to be an issue somewhere down the line with one of your players loading it if it's remote play, online play. Anyway. So, Swifty, to do it correctly, to get the top layer to disappear, everything that's part of that top layer would be the only part that's visible in that map. So you would essentially have to delete and make it transparent except for the tree canopy and the rooftops. So everything below that level of canopy has to be transparent, which tile exports might help with that, or our green screen biome in the future might help with that. But what I recommend is, let's say you have roofs and tree canopy you want to cover, and you could essentially do a save as version of the map where it's that top level of the canopy like this, and you export it, and then you take it into like Photoshop and delete the background and make it transparent PNG for everything but the tree canopy that you're going to walk under. But it's not simple. This is not an easy process. And I think in the future we may offer more support for it, but right now there is. And look at all those undos. I undid for days. That was great. Okay. So, let's get back down to the first floor and finish decorating it so we can move on to the second floor. I mean, I've seen it done. People have done it in our community effectively, but it is not easy to set up and do correctly. Essentially, that green layer has to be gone. Yeah. Painting for the wall? Maybe. Maybe. On the bottom level, I don't know. That seems weird. I'm thinking like something here, or like a water source. We have like this barrel here with a pump. Something like that. I might even just put that there. That looks good there. Tapestries? We've come to see the tapestries. How dare he? Hey, see you later, Geeking Out Gaming. You're welcome anytime in our Discord or across our social platforms or the streams. If you have any questions, feel free to drop by anytime. Trying to make sure everything's stacked on the thing below it. That way it can move as a group. So now I can move this table as a single unit and center it easier. Which is awesome. And then also this entire floor moves as a single piece, so I can move it all together. Everything stacked on the floor below will move as a single piece. I did that with a little bit of forethought because I wanted it to work that way. Let's see here. Water. No, that ain't gonna work. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Bummer. Okay. Let's look for a painting or some art. We got rugs. I don't think we have any. We got a few banners and stuff. I could put like a banner here or something like that. But I probably will go with like a painting or something down here in the bottom level. But I was thinking I was going to reserve most of that for the upper levels. Let's see here. Couple of paintings leading up the staircase. I feel like there's one more smaller painting. Which one is it? That one. Yeah, I like the oil lamp better. It's got a cleaner look to it. All right. Looking pretty good so far. Putting some dishes in there, right? That's cool. I think this downstairs has really come together. What do y'all think about it? Is it looking pretty good overall? So currently our stock windows will only attach to an AI generated wall. There are ways around it. So for instance, someone made an abstract wall that can kind of do what you want. So for instance, this round wall, we have an object in here called abstract objects. We talked about these a little bit earlier, right? You can put a custom wall on these, and someone took the time to actually put one that had windows in it. So they took this wall and put a windowed version, which I might do on the second or third floor, just to give it a little bit more light. Coat rack, that's smart. We have this one, but I'm looking for something smaller. No, I get you. I totally understand, Ricky. Just trying to remember where it is. I feel like it's like under this menu somewhere. Let's see. I think it's under Tailor's Tools. We might have some things that could work. Yeah, we have a coat rack, but it's huge. I kind of was hoping for something smaller. Like a single, like a hat rack one, like a single spine one. I guess I could just put that right next to the sink. It just seems weird. Well, there's a whole entryway here, so... Someone was asking about defenses earlier. Couple animated armors as soon as you walk in the door. What do you think? Okay. Yes, Lazarus, in our next update, you will most definitely be able to do that. We don't have an ETA on that because we found a large bug in the update that essentially has caused a significant undetermined delay, as we have to migrate from an older version of Unity to a new version. Problem is, Canman, it doesn't snap right there well. It snaps to an angle. And I didn't like it. We'll see. I'll come up with something. So you'll be able to shape the building to, non-conforming shapes, no longer a rectangular square or whatever can fit to a square grid. You'll have rounded and angled walls. You'll be able to rotate the walls and buildings before you generate it. You'll also be able to move the structure, from point A to point B before you generate it, and raise it up and down before you generate it. All of these things will work in tandem in the next update. And this is incredibly early alpha footage, so it's gotten much better since this, came out. So, like, the round room method I'm doing in a few, like, when the next update comes out, let's just say, when it comes out, what I'm doing will be a thing of the past, other than the second and third floors. The bottom floor will be taken care of. You'll be able to do rounded doors, windows, whatever, to that structure, etc. A Varial, to each their own. If it works for your players and they have machines and internet that can keep up with it, by all means, go for it. The one reason I hear a lot of DMs say they want to do the higher DPI is they prefer the quality and they think it looks fuzzy at 72 DPI. I will say this, DMs are kind of detail oriented. They're kind of cursed in that regard, that they will always be like looking at all the fine details. Like, we spent 2 hours building the bottom floor of this map, right? That's how detail oriented I am, and cursed to be so. And your players, when they're playing, they don't notice all that stuff. You know what I mean? They're there to kick butt and, like, look for cool loot and destroy whatever challenges you have thrown at them. And they don't tend to notice the little fuzziness in the map at 72 DPI or the minor details. Some players might, but for the most part, I'd say like 99% of them will never notice or complain or care about the DPI difference. So, and I can say that from experience, personal firsthand experience, and also from a community-wide scope. and I don't mean that to belittle you or any way. I just want to point it out that it is totally possible to get by with 72 DPI. Basically, I played in a bunch of games as a player on Dungeon Alchemist maps, never once heard a player complain about the quality. I've talked to dozens and dozens and like hundreds of DMs about this same issue on stream and personal chats. And for the most part, I've never heard of a DM that ran into an issue with their player complaining about the DPI. About the DPI of a map. So I will say this, just keep that in mind, man. I mean, you are the master of this world, and as a result of which you tend to notice things your players probably, you know what I mean? So don't, I wouldn't fixate on the minor details too much, especially when at the end of the day, they're probably just going to run through it all, steamroll it, kick some butt. They're there to RP, have some fun, and get loot. You know what I mean? I do understand where you're coming from, though, because I'm the same way. And that's how I know it. You know what I mean? I wonder if I can make this weird. Ah! And honestly, dude, it's like, it's silly, too. Because, like, we're there just trying to put this amazing experience together top to bottom. You know, you want this immersive, amazing map that has beautiful imagery, sounds, and, like, effects and stuff. And then at the end of the day, you could spend hours on it, and they'll play in it for 5 minutes sometimes. And the maps you spend 5 minutes on, they'll spend 4 hours in an encounter just trying to get through the door. And so at the end of the day, I like to point that out, that it's really just like, you know, sometimes we're our own worst enemies when it comes to content creation for our players. Exactly. I am also like, but the thing is, I'm not making this with the intention of anyone to play. This is just for fun, realistically. And I'm teaching people about making maps. But yes, at the end of the day, I am a big hypocrite. You know, I'm trying to make this incredibly detailed and spending tons of time. But me here, I'm teaching you about map making and things you can do in it. You know what I mean? Not necessarily like, yeah, no, I'm very hypocritical. At the end of the day, you're 100% correct, Can Man. I can't say anything about it because it's the truth. You got me. I do think the main difference is my maps are meant for like the community to look at and enjoy and learn from. It's a learning piece, whereas like most people are making their maps for their players to enjoy. Not always the same thing. But yes, agreed. You can make fun of me all you want. I like to think of myself as a bit of a punching bag for the community. Ain't that the way? I might put the kettle on the table. Makes more sense there. Cup here. I really hate that we don't have a fork that isn't fancy. Be nice to have a wood fork, you know? All right, so I just noticed the time. We are actually past the stream time, so let's wrap it up. I appreciate everyone that hung out with me. We got at least the bottom floor of this to feel really comfortable and like a fun, little environment. I think we are on the right track here. Next week we'll work on the next floor and continue developing that. Exactly. I think going into the minutia of how to move objects around, how to stack them together is very important when it comes to teaching stuff. Ultimately, each of these little bits of advice could come in handy to your map making, whether it's the detail aspects or the time saving aspects that we've discussed. Avariel, I appreciate the kindness, and I'm honestly here to guide you through your map making experience and teach you of the utility and the various functions and abilities of Dungeon Alchemist. So feel free to tune into any of these streams. We host, so let's walk through the stream schedule a little bit. Every Monday, we have Mapmaker Monday. Rain or shine, unless I'm sick or there's like a major holiday, usually there's a Mapmaker Monday. Next, we also offer a stream every Wednesday in our Discord called Office Hours. Office Hours are a little bit more laid back. There's not a map making stream going on, but we do provide support. I take community feedback. I'll take diligent notes in a notepad and pass it on to the devs. Usually I take notes of stuff that you guys are like, hey, I found this bug, or hey, I have this suggestion, or I'll be like, I'll pick a feature from DA and I'll be like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And we'll tear it apart top to bottom, what's good about it, what's bad, what could be improved, pass that on to the devs. So with that same thread of thought, Wednesdays, office hours are available. In our Discord, we have events pinned at the top for all of these streams. So I highly recommend joining our Discord because you can see the time in your exact time zone relevant to where you live. Very good. Every Saturday, we have a stream across our various platforms. That'll be on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Kick, Steam, Trovo, etc. These streams are available to our wider community. Every other Saturday is a stream called the Dam Stream, where we showcase community maps and teach you tips and tricks and showcase assets from the workshop. The alternate Saturday is an ongoing map making contest, which you see down here. It says bi-weekly, there, that way. Bi-weekly bi-weekly Dam Challenge is attraction. That is our current theme. I encourage our community to use that theme as inspiration. Make a map of any shape or size using attraction as the inspiration. And then using that map, you can enter in the challenge called the Dam Challenge, which is hosted kind of on our streams, but mostly in our Discord in the Dam Challenge channel. There are rules pinned at the top of the channel for your entrance, whatnot. So you need to follow those rules in order to enter correctly, but as long as you use attraction as the inspiration and follow the rules pinned at the top of the channel, you're entered correctly. And there is a $10 Hero Forge gift card on the line, plus your map is the first map featured on the Dam Challenge stream, is promptly featured in our weekly newsletter, and is shared across our various social platforms. So it's a good way to boost yourself as a content creator, map maker, or just to kind of flex your map making muscle and show off your skills against fellow cartographers in our community. Again, the current challenge is attraction, so use that as inspiration. Make a map of any shape or size and submit it to the Damn Challenge channel on Discord if you're interested in participating in that. Well, it's time to wrap up. Let's say damn fam today until we've solidified the possibility of the damnation. I appreciate you all being here today. Thank you so much for participating, whether it was actively chatting in chat or submitting and sharing feedback and asking questions, or were you actively lurking across our various platforms today. You're all very much appreciated, and I thank you for being part of our community and our community initiatives. Shoot, I don't have much else to say, so I guess we'll just wrap up on that note. So again, Damn Fam, thank you for being a part of this these streams and for being here. Without further ado, we'll see you next time. I give a damn. Back out. Bye. Bye.